Right, if you watch my videos, you'll know that I am a bit of a McLaren fan. And today I am with the most dailyable in the McLaren range, the 570S. We've got 570 PS and 600 Nm of torque out of a 3.8 litre twin-turbo V8 engine, 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds and a top speed of 204 mph. Now, weight-wise, they are actually okay by today's standards. Again, if you watch my videos, I do take note of the weight, but these weigh in at 1450 kilos roughly. And we've got the standard McLaren setup of rear-wheel drive mid-engine that I absolutely love. Now, I want to address something really early on. McLarens are not unreliable if you drive them. The amount of times I hear people say, McLarens are unreliable, they're not if you drive them. A lot of the people that have problems don't drive their cars. So get out and enjoy them, people. They need to be driven. Other things to look at when you're buying one is corrosion. They get really bad on the wheel arches and the boot lid, so check those when you're buying one, and also accumulators, which will throw up an error on suspension generally. So if you're buying one and someone tells you it's fine, it's not, go and get it checked. So the 570s don't normally have a wing on them, but this particular car has an AP Designs really nice carbon spoiler that looks very similar to the 600 LT. I actually think it's a necessity if you've got a 570 because it just, yeah, it looks mean with this spoiler. Also, a little bit of McLaren trivia. So the headlights, the shape of them is the shape of the McLaren logo. So if you didn't know that, you do now. I also really love the spec on this. I'm not a massive fan of red cars, but the red paint with the black stripes and the gold wheels, just it looks absolutely pucker in my opinion. Anyway, boot space. So we have a frunk rather than a boot because obviously we have the engine in the back. It's huge, basically. You can fit a massive suitcase in it. You can go on holiday in that with absolutely no drama. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Right, let's go for a drive and take a look inside. All right, so interior, there's not a huge amount. We've got a little cubby hole behind us, really nice seats. This spec, as I said earlier, you know, the red with the black accents and the red seat belts in this, I just think looks really cool. Storage, you've got a very small glove box, but you know, you're not buying something for a massive glove box. And then you've also got a bit of cubby hole down here, quite a nice size actually, a little bit of storage here, and then you've also got a bit of storage down here. Now, the 650S had the center console was all the way down, it didn't have a brake in it, but actually this one makes it a lot easier to put your stuff down here rather than having to sort of angle your hand around it. So very good design on these. In terms of buttons, so we've got the gear, so we've got the drive, reverse, you know, the mode essentially, and then we've got the button to open the frunk. And then we've got launch control, start, stop, off and on, and then we've got the different modes. So when it comes to driving modes on these, you have, so firstly you have to press active to be able to change the mode, and if you unpress active it will then put you back into normal, whatever you're in. So if you're in track, powertrain and handling, you press the active button, turn it off, it will then put it all back into normal mode, which is essentially the driving on the road, you know, just chilling mode. So as I say, you've got powertrain and handling modes that you can change. So you've got normal, sport and track. Normal on the handling makes it nice and soft on the road. It's, you know, it's not offensive to drive or anything like that. You put it in sport, makes it a little bit stiffer, and then track makes it a bit stiffer again. And then the same sort of thing with the powertrain. So when you've got it in normal powertrain, it's quite laggy. So if I turn it on to normal powertrain and then put my foot down, gives you a second before it goes. Put it into track powertrain, gives me all of the power immediately. And then sport powertrain is kind of between normal and track, so it's a little bit dialed back. You've then got the launch control button, and you've got the traction off button. So if I turn it off, turns my stability off. And then you've got the start stop button. We've then got this lovely little screen. Now, one thing that used to be quite cool with the 650S was that the screen was just the right size and it had a little lip on it so that you could literally put your phone in it and then use the phone as your sat nav, because the sat nav on these, not good. Well, it wasn't on the 650, I'm not sure what it is on the 570, but it was not good. But this screen is very flat, and they've changed the design and upgraded it a little bit. But you've got all the normal stuff, so you've got the to press the middle button. You've then got phone, media, radio, sat nav, and then you've got apps. And actually one thing that's really handy in the apps is the user manual, which I used to have to use quite a lot. But you can't read the user manual while you're driving along. If you try and click it, it will say, for your safety, this application is not available while driving. So don't try and use the maps while you're driving along. Then steering wheel, again, this spec is just gorgeous. We've got all this carbon everywhere, carbon on the steering wheel, carbon on the flapping paddles. And we've also got the stalk, so you've got the normal kind of indicators and lights, and then you've got cruise control. And then underneath the left-hand stalk, we've got something that basically allows you to cycle through the menus, but also they've changed the design, I'm sure of it. I can't remember if my 650 had this. I don't think it did. So if it did, I apologise to anyone who is going to be watching this and telling me that I'm wrong. Please do tell me that I'm wrong. It's absolutely fine. I just can't remember what the answer is. The button on the bottom left of the steering wheel allows you to put the car up and down really quickly. Now, it's not fast, okay? So on the 650, I used to have to cycle through the menu, click on it, and then press up and down. This allows you to just really quickly press up or down to raise the car or lower it, but it still takes it feels like forever, basically, while you're waiting for it to lift and go down. And I put another video out recently with a GT3, which is instant. I mean, you press it and it literally goes up. Now, the difference is that this raises the front and the back, whereas the Porsches only raise the front. So you're getting a slightly different service, but my God, does it take forever to do it. But it's a necessity. If you're buying a McLaren, don't buy one without lift. Honestly, you will miss it so much. Other than that, on the dashboard, we've got a really nice dashboard. And again, we've got this little stalk that cycles through all the different menus. So you just press it forward and then you can cycle through and then press it towards you to do whatever you need to do. Now, the lift won't work if it's over 30 mile an hour. So if you go over 30 mile an hour and the lift is up, it will automatically put it down. If you're driving over 30 mile an hour, it won't let you put the lift up. But, you know, shouldn't need it over 30 mile an hour. And to be honest, when you're hooning or going over 30 mile an hour, you don't need the lift up. Also, if you buy one, just a tip, and you're in the McLaren Owners Club, do not forget to put your lift down, because you will get papped by someone and everyone will put a disgusted face at you because it looks horrible. Just a little tip. Oh, and something that I almost forgot. So on the flappy paddles, on the steering wheel, if you press, so the down one in, it will go down a gear, but if you press it out away from you, it will then go up a gear, and then the same is for the opposite side. So on the right hand side for the up gear, if you press towards you, it will push up a gear, and then if you press away from you, it will go down a gear. So you can essentially drive it with one hand. Ta-da! So, benefits of owning a McLaren: you get doors that go up, and you get performance for a fraction of the price that you would have to pay for the same performance with most other brands. Things I don't like about this car, honestly, there isn't anything other than the noise. You know, McLaren hasn't nailed the noise at all. No, I don't think there's anything, and actually it's really making me miss my 650. Definitely want a 600 LT next, I think. As a, you know, a road-going supercar, it's actually made me realise how much I miss the 650. Because I didn't think I did, but I do. Benefits of getting the Spider. So, firstly, McLaren do it very differently to other brands. So they build the car around as a Spider, and then they build the coupe on top of it almost. I don't really know how to describe it, but they build they build the car as a Spider, make it handle and drive really well, and then they build the coupe based on that thing. You've also got fully carbon monocoque, so it's safer, I guess, arguably. I don't really know the science behind it. But if you want a Spider, something that is going to drive as well as the coupe, you want to buy a McLaren. The only thing I would say, so this is a coupe. The cool thing that you get with the Spider is, number one, it's basically two cars in one, because it's hardtop and also you can take the roof off with a little button. But also you get a little window behind you on the Spider that you can open. So even if you've got the roof up, but if you want a bit of air through, you can open this window, and you know, you still get to listen to the noise of the engine and all that stuff, which is kind of pointless on these because, as I say, they don't sound great. But it's a really, really cool little feature that they've built in there. Sorry, this video has turned into a little bit of a nerding. But I love McLaren so much, and the thing is, every time I drive a Ferrari or something, I haven't driven a Lamborghini yet, that's on my list, but every time I kind of drive the corresponding Ferraris, I'm always a bit disappointed because you just don't get a lot of feel through the steering wheel. Always feels a little bit flat, you know. So yeah, it's I don't know, I absolutely love McLarens, but as a daily driver, drives gorgeous. As a track car, they are brilliant. And as a you know, a hooning car, you can't beat them. You can't beat the performance for the price. Even going to, you know, a Lotus, I am Lotus through and through. I think for something that does absolutely everything to the same standard as these and feels like a proper supercar, you can't beat McLarens. And people tend to go from Lotus into McLaren, or have both, and they're both very different cars, but actually cut from the same cloth in a big way. So yeah, they're a massive compliment to each other. Yeah, I don't know, I absolutely love McLarens. Right, I think it's time for me to go and find a twisty road. So let's get that bit done, shall we? Right, found a twisty road, let's go. Got a van coming towards me, don't like that too much. Actually, I'm just going to change it into powertrain track and handling track. Give me a bit more power up front. How planted is that? Oh, I missed my one. Right, sorry. Just had a few minutes of enjoying it then. Didn't explain it to you at all, but basically, go around a corner, choose a speed, car goes, alright, yep, cool, no worries, no slip at all. You can feel absolutely everything on the road. It's nowhere near as bad as a Lotus or something like that, but you can totally see why people buy these after they've had a Lotus, or they have them alongside of, because they're a really, 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 really good road car as well as a very good track car, and they're nowhere near as uncomfortable, and they are just fast as hell. Nice, fast. To be honest, I'm just going to shut the window. It doesn't feel like scarily fast. Now, my old 650, you put your foot down, it gave you a minute to compose yourself, and then it would try and rip your face off. But it did have nearly, you know, 100 more horsepower than this does. Oh God. Cornering is just incredible. Best mode to drive it in my opinion, every day is, well, I mean, I'd have it in track everywhere. But I used to drive the McLaren in sport handling, I think, because it wasn't quite as stiff, and then powertrain track, which gives you all of the power immediately, but it's still relatively comfortable. It's not kind of really bangy, but actually this is probably the equivalent. The track in this is probably the equivalent to sport in the 650. But God, it handles lovely. You know exactly what's going on in it. It gives you a lot of feedback through the steering wheel, through the whole car. And it's also a very, it's not a scary car to drive. Now, I remember when I got my 650, I drove home in the wet and I was thinking, God, it's going to be like all over the place and I'm probably going to crash it. And, you know, you kind of start talking to yourself in a negative way. And it was actually fine. Like, McLarens are the sort of cars that you can definitely daily, but they're fantastic on a track and fantastic on a road. And if you want to go for a hoon, you know, they're the perfect car for it. Yeah, I do love McLarens, to be honest. One thing they didn't nail though is the noise. The one disappointing thing about McLarens is the noise. that I think Ferrari and Lamborghini really nailed the exhaust noise, but McLaren's just always sound a bit muted and dead, I think. But, you know, it would be cool if they sounded good, but they don't need it. You know, the amount of performance you get for the money, and really for the same sort of car from a different brand, you know, from Lamborghini, Ferrari or whatever, the same sort of spec, you're having to pay hundreds of thousands of pounds, whereas, as I say, you can get yourself into one of these for under 100 grand, which just seems absolutely crazy. The performance you get for the money is mental when it comes to a McLaren. Right, so fun factor, I'm always going to go over 9. Again, still not quite Lotus levels of fun, but it is very, very, very close. And practicality, again, you can daily one of these so easy, and I know that because I did 44,000 miles in my car. This car has got nearly 49,000 miles on it. I know someone else who's got 570 who's got over 40,000 miles on it. But you know, these cars are really good everyday cars that you, as I say, you can just have so much fun in. But you know, every single McLaren that I've ever driven, I've absolutely loved, and I really love drivers' cars. So yeah, I mean, yeah, love it. Anyway, my camera keeps overheating. It is about 15 trillion degrees today, so I am going to love and leave you. I'm going to open the window and enjoy the rest of the time that I've got left with this car. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and turn on your notifications, and I will see you in the next one.